Today, we've got a sponsored video, so you can all thank Nebulosity for getting an extra video out on the channel. Nobody ever needs to do this, by the way. I am happy to make all of my own videos with my own ideas, but if somebody has an idea that they know I'm not going to record, because it's kind of an opportunity cost, where if I'm recording that loadout, it's not something else that I wanted to show on the channel, it's a whole thing, they can fund a video. And they went that route. If you ever want to do the same, Twitch link down below, just ask me during a stream and we can talk about it, but here's what we got. So, MERMONSTER Ken in the lead. This is a hero I have never ever used because he was anti-synergistic with our Queen of Melee's Paleoluna. Now, it's been a very long time. I've learned a lot more about Toy Rockin' Out and alternative builds. She's not the only melee hero in the game, but I still wrote off MERMONSTER Ken because you really want to keep your health up and it's really hard to keep it low. However, he synergizes well with black metal weapons, and that's what's going on here. When you have low health, he will increase your damage by up to 44%. Then, heavy attack eliminations have a 60% chance to conjure a phantasm. Now, I don't believe that this build is really dependent on those phantasms, but we will be getting heavy attack elimination, so that could help us out. Then we've got Blast from the Past. Now, you might think you might not want to have more health if you're trying to lose your health, but what happens is if you've got Blast from the Past, say for example, you have 1.5 million health, then staying around 44% of that missing, or whatever it takes to activate his full ability, you'll have more than 500,000 health remaining, instead of, if you were not running Blast from the Past, maybe you'd have 500,000 HP, then you'd be closer to that, I don't know, 250,000 range or so. My point is, Blast in the Past allows you to still have a pretty substantial amount of HP remaining while having enough of it missing to activate his perk. It's kind of a balancing act. If you've ever played a game where you want low health and you want to maximize your HP so that the percentage of your health remaining is higher, you'll know what I'm talking about. Then, of course, the Blast in the Past heroes we have to activate this are Prehistoric Iza, because armor is huge. That allows you to take less damage and not lose, you know, all of your health, just the part that you want missing. Then Fossil Southie is important because you want to have constant energy generation, and that goes for Rapid Charge over here. So Anticotal Sarah is essential because if you're going to be trying to use a lot of energy, spinning around a lot, getting energy back from those melee eliminations is critical. Then we have Monster Smash. Once again, we don't want to lose all of our health, so a little bit of healing off of her life leech should go a long way, and it does scale. I'm sorry, that's not the right hero. And it does scale with your missing health, so based on the percentage of your missing health. So our health is going to go down, 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 and then we'll heal up above a certain threshold and hopefully stay in a range that keeps our perk active. And then Corrosive Strikes. I'm not sure what the idea is here. We are critting a lot. She will help. I don't know if this is the exact hero you'd want to use, but it's their build, and I'm just going to run with it because when I'm being taught something new, don't ask too many questions, although I will ask some questions. Now, the Husk Grinder did need to be core reperked, so I invested... I used one of my 22 core reperks on this video. So eliminating an enemy will cause your current health to go down by 8%. Granted, that is 8% of your current health, not your total. So it'll go less and less and less and less health loss. You guys have seen this in my black metal videos. Link to that one down below, whatever the latest one was, probably that Dirge song, where you can get all the way down to 1 HP. I don't know if that video shows it, but it will not kill you, but it'll get you really low. And then that'll deal 26 to 151 base damage based on how much of your health is missing, and that explosion is substantial. Now, it's kind of different case by case on the black metal weapons. Sometimes it's millions, sometimes it's hundreds of thousands. I'm really not sure what's going on with these, but it is a very, very big amount of damage. And while I have not personally tried this build, they wanted my live reaction on camera, I'm sure it's going to be a lot. And then that'll do that in a 1 tile diameter. So half a tile out in every direction. That should kill a lot of enemies around us. There's a 3-second cooldown on that, so that can be good and bad. It won't kill you as fast, but it won't do as much. Crit rate and crit damage is pretty standard. Fire element, he said he wanted it to be fire. He said this build is so good, I want you to record it this season. I said, hey, maybe we should wait until next season. I know it's your funded video, but like, I would love to show off your loadout as strong as it can be. He's like, nah, bro, it is so good, we can do this in a water zone. I'm so, okay, all right, I would never suggest this. We will be doing a quarter of our damage to these enemies, but apparently it's still very strong. And then double heavy attack efficiency. This is another one of those moments where I might question that. I'm not 100% sure if that's strictly necessary here, but it's their build, so we can check it out finally. That's the whole build. There's a lot going on. It is going to be a spin to win build because the Husk Grinder heavy attack goes around in circles. We've got a full team, although nowadays with the modern power rating changes, I do not need anybody to boost my stats, but having other people in the game is just great because other people can help build up the defense while I run around in the 160s. And it's also just nice to have teammates that can help pick up the slack if we can't quite kill everything. So I haven't used MERMONSTER, but I have used the Husk Grinder a little bit, but okay. Wow, that is 245 power level enemies falling over like they are nothing. That is kind of insane. I wonder if the explosion on the heavy attack, like the low health explosion, actually does physical damage or not, but that just deleted an entire encampment with some left over. There's no healing death burst. I'm just finding gaps here. That's actually kind of insane. Now, like I mentioned, the power rating changes are in effect. This is, I believe, my first Fun Loadouts showcase after that change. Now, what happened is they made us like less than 1% weaker, and then they made the enemies less than 1% weaker. That's pretty much it. You have the individual health of somebody who is in a 4-player party, so all of your stats are basically the same as they were before. So in effect, you should have the exact same performance as before the update. It's kind of just as simple as that. Even if your power level, like power rating changed, your stats really should not have changed. This is a surprisingly strong build. Surprisingly, not surprisingly, like I said, black metal weapons are known to be very strong. I just was not sure if that would translate to the melees like the Black Blade and the Husk Grinder. So yeah, so far this build is actually doing pretty dang well. Now, it went without mentioning, but my teammates did grab the pylons for health and energy. So that is definitely something I suggest you guys do in your own missions. It goes a very long way. And I am now seeing that the damage from this build is solely dependent on that special ability going off. It has a 3-second cooldown, which is not ideal, but you can see the double heavy attack is making you spin and spin and spin and spin. So long as you're getting just a couple of kills, it looks like you're good to go. That is difficult to do in a water mission. I want you guys to know this build would be substantially stronger in a fire mission. I'm sorry, in a nature mission where fire is doing its full amount of damage, but the fact that this is still able to kill things at all is frankly very impressive. I'm actually gonna say this is pretty cool, but you could see, yeah, if we're not killing an enemy and getting that explosion, you're not really getting anywhere. And this is where like the double heavy attack can probably aid in its overall balance or efficiency. I'm trying to say like consistency. Yeah, because if you're not getting a kill, you're just going to run out of spin, and you really need that to do maximum damage. But still pretty impressed. I'm not surprised by the limitations, but it's doing an alright job. Alright, so we've got an encampment in the storm. Now, I don't know if the damage on my weapon is represented by the health bonus from our monster Ken. You could see the balance is being struck here. So I've got healing coming from Arlene Isa, and that is helping me stay alive. I don't know if the phantasms heal me. I'm not gonna lie, I did not read the flavor text on them like I should have, but the damage when my health is this low is pretty unremarkable when it's from the weapon. It looks like we are largely dependent on that explosion as mentioned. And then of course we are not invincible. And finally with the 160 segment, just to indicate exactly what I'm talking about, if you're not getting the explosions, versus Smasher, it looks like it's kind of a dead build. Like maybe stunning or knocking back causes the explosion, could be a little bit more consistent. I don't know if the damage is comparable. You can see even, oh, getting an elimination didn't quite finish it off. I think I'm just gonna move on from the Smasher. The single target damage absolutely requires baby enemies to fuel it. Now, for the trapping part of this, you always want to look at the map. So let's see. We've got them coming from the north, northwest, and southeast. Sage is all too happy to build this defense. She's ran more Retrieve the Datas than a lot of people have ran missions. You guys know the drill. A couple of tire traps should be fine. I've got a bunch of teammates that are just waiting for me to finish recording, so they're probably going to help out a lot. As I mentioned, teammates are great because they can either help build the defense or help fill in the gaps, because I don't expect this loadout to completely carry the mission, and having some teammates standing around to help things out when things get rough, it's going to help make things a lot more consistent. In fact, with the power rating changes, people wondered, like, what are you supposed to do? Epic is just trying to make this game a single player game now. That's terrible. And it's like, well, no. Having other people in your game is still something you want, and for all the reasons I just mentioned is why. Now, I definitely had to go over here because this is exactly what I'm talking about. You get a group of enemies together where you can trigger that explosion. It's pretty strong, and then as soon as all the baby enemies are gone, things get a little awkward. Yeah, outside of a nature zone, this is really, really rough. Let's go get the defense started. All right, and the defense begins. So this is kind of a spread out defense. I'm wondering if we can just go from normal enemy to normal enemy. Can we slowly work our way over to this mist monster? Showing this in the wrong element mission is so brutal. I guess versus a physical target like this, it's not relevant, so that's nice to see. And you can see the damage is sufficient on that single target. Spin to win loadouts have been popular since forever. In fact, I've actually showed the Steam Thrasher build on the channel, link to that down below. And I featured featured it in my mini-boss video, believe it or not. The Steam Thrasher, not a bad choice if you are up against a smokescreen mini-boss and you need to deal with it. So that's something that can happen, but they're hard for me to get into because spinning around constantly is really, really hard to control. You constantly need energy supplication. It's so difficult to keep it going and going and going. And when something doesn't just die, it can be very difficult. I will say, a heavy attack spam build that I really enjoyed was the Spectre Blade. That lunge build was super duper strong. Every heavy attack was doing at least 1 million damage. The fast attack was like 2.4 million DPS, which was represented in the thumbnail. It was really, really strong. That was something I very much enjoyed because there's a lot of control over the weapon. You can see this build, the limitations are notable and have been noted, but versus a large crowd of enemies, it does pretty decent. Similar to the Chain Lightning on the Vacuum Tube Spear, the Vacuum Tube Sword, Vacuum Tube Axe for that matter. Then you've got the explosions from the Stormblade. Melee builds love having lots and lots of baby enemies all in one spot. Having no limit to that pierce is so effective. It goes so far and can eliminate everything with ease. And I wonder what those phantasms are doing. I was not paying enough attention. Targets that may be doing base energy damage and a radius. So it's just sort of extra damage, which is fine. I've never found a build that takes advantage of the phantasms well. There is the Trick and Treat team perk that plays around with the phantasms, but it's a really hard perk to use. In fact, Chaos Agent actually triggers phantasms when you reload with an ability. I have never heard of anybody making solid use of that. I was frankly not impressed. Chaos Agent is like an S tier support hero, and I don't see the damage from him in the lead being worth it. Reload heroes or mag size heroes in the lead are rarely good anyway, so it makes sense that they kind of gave him a dead perk. But yeah, the damage on this thing versus a crowd of enemies is super satisfying. Having a lot of them built up all at once, you can see the Phantasm doing some work there. Pretty good. And this is at full health, so I will do more and more and more damage as I'm losing health, and that does look like it's actually difficult to do. I mentioned the stunning knocking back could be better. I don't know if that has less of a cooldown, to be honest. I look very uneducated with some of these, and it's because I am. Some of these perks I've investigated enough to know that they weren't great, and that's where like the Black Metal AR, the Dirge Song, they work so well because you can activate it on command. You can get that explosion triggered just by reloading and then shooting a target. You can always control when you reload, and that's a really, really nice, powerful ability to have. Having to kill an enemy is tricky because versus a single target, it makes you very vulnerable where you need something standing next to the high health target in order to be useful at all, which is basically what's happening right here. And then I'm slow. See, like that lunge attack could have killed it. A different melee would have been faster with a fast swing. So there are definitely limitations, and nobody ever claimed that this was the best build ever, but I appreciate you, Nebulosity. Not everybody. I say this so often. People do not need to donate anything for me to make a video on a topic, but it is true. I can be a little hard-headed if I'm pretty sure that something's not going to be good. There are so many other things I would rather try out or rather make a video on, rather check out, that it just makes it difficult for me to give things a try. This is performing about as I expected, which is validating my attitude over the years. But not every, and this is what I started to say earlier, not everybody is willing to go as far as actually sponsoring a video, and I really do appreciate it. So yeah, let's just enjoy this for the rest of the time and see what we can do.
We can move and do things now.
We can move and do things. Yoltrons, have you been struggling with your network?
Yes, I've had 1100 ping this entire mission.
Oh, it just sounds like a typical South African player right there. That's easy. Every Australian ever.
I'm getting 50 kilobit per second internet. Like, Stream is dying and Fortnite is dying.
That's like every Australian ever is like, oh, only 1100? It's a good day then, huh?
Like, I don't even get 1 megabit internet. I'm just getting 50 kilobits.
1 megabit? How do you do anything?
Yeah, I get...
You mean 1 gigabit?
I don't know, but right now I'm getting 50 kilobit per second internet.
Holy
like,
crap.
I can't move. I'm back to 900 ping.
Wait, 1 megabit can't even run 720p. Are you sure you mean gigabit?
No, I just did an internet test speed test. It's 50 kilobit.
My weapon broke? I went through the entirety of the durability today? Holy crap.
What?
I went through the entirety of the Husk Grinder durability. Holy crap.
Yoltrons, you having fun trying to kill that?
It's so awkward being scared of being low health, but
swings
also
just
doing good
don't
damage. Alright, don't worry, guys. I got this.
You got this.
I'm MERMONSTER Ken. I'm unstoppable.
You invited the Beyblade.
You know,
Ooh, I'm curious.
Who is doing what? Yeah, what weapon is that? Yeah, vacuum tubes carried there. There were...
I was shooting it with a vacuum tube bow.
I don't think that's what did it. I saw a high-speed vacuum tube sword scaling with the health going down. That's what that looked like. Glass axe. Yeah, that thing broke. The thing is, when you're spamming heavy attack like this, you're hitting a lot of enemies all at once, and all of those count as durability loss. Yeah. Yeah.
That is surprising, though.
This build is interesting. And I like that I've turned the second half of this video into basically a podcast segment, because it's an interesting build that I can see why Nebulosity's excited. I would say if you need a ninja build and you are going through encampments, this is fine. This will work great. For standard defense, its single target is lacking. Obviously, we're in the wrong element. Oh my gosh. I mean, the fact that this is even a build worth conversing on and I'm using fire versus water should say a lot. Maybe I'm judging a build based on a quarter of its damage and we need to revisit this in the summertime, or springtime rather. But like, so far, I don't know. It's tough being low health because then you die. And then I'm only getting health from Arleniza and yeah. Would I rather play Modern Warfare 2 for the rest of my life or Black Ops? If Modern Warfare 2 is safe to play, if it was an environment where I could do online multiplayer and not get hacked, I would play Modern Warfare 2 for the rest of my life for free. Without a doubt.
That was Frankfurt.
I've said it before. I think Modern Warfare 2, in terms of like highest highs, is probably my favorite game of all time. I really loved it. As far as lowest lows, though, it's probably my least favorite game of all time. Modern Warfare 2 is like the drug I kicked. Yeah, I'm just going to spin to win to close out this video because I can see it. I can see the dream, but what I'm thinking in my brain when I'm critiquing a build like this, as far as fun builds, have fun, have fun, have fun. I encourage variety more than anything in this entire game. I am not telling anybody they should not use builds that they enjoy. I want that to be very clear. If I'm strictly rating this build on how strong it is and what I'm seeing before my eyes, Steam Thrasher seems to do a bit of a better job. It has more elemental advantages there, and I think it has Affliction,
It does, yeah. I use it all the time, I know it does.
Yeah. Affliction's really strong on melees. It also has a Steam Cloud, which does a lot of extra damage.
Steam.
And both of those can be very strong. So there are just better alternatives, in my opinion. And Toy Rockin' Out. If you can get Toy Rockin' Out active, you're crunching for so much more damage. You might have less consistency on the spin, but even the fast attack on Steam Thrasher is pretty damn good. So, all said, thank you, Nebulosity, for sponsoring this video. To the viewers watching, this is not a video that was about to happen. I was 0% convinced that I wanted to make a MERMONSTER Ken video in the middle of the Frost Knight season, no less. It's not even like he's available right now. If Dungeons is going to come back as expected in a few weeks, then you guys can go ahead and pick him up, give him a try. I had this hero ready to go at 130 as I do at all times. Like I said about variety, I might be fixed in my ways as to what's a good weapon, what's a bad build, what's a good build, but I like to keep a copy of every hero and every weapon on hand, ready to go, just in case. So with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you're new, like the video if you liked it, use code Mista if you buy anything at the checkout, and Twitch link down below if you guys ever want to catch one of these live. Thank you again, Nebulosity, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And then